Welcome to the GlassBullet podcast, where I talk with some of the hardest working entrepreneurs and learn from their experiences and creativity. Enjoy.
We are live, folks. Another sunny day in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Carter is coming to us live from
Venice, Florida.
Let's go, baby. What's up, Carter?
How you doing, man? I know we've been talking for about 2 hours trying to get this set up, but it's first podcast. It's straight up from here.
It's only up from here. We had kind of a headache trying to get audio movers to work, but nonetheless, we almost got there, and we're gonna next time we go at it, we're gonna get it done.
Definitely. This is my man right here. We've known each other for
Wow.
eight years.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
8 years.
Wow. Yeah. So we met. He was one of the counselors or something.
I was a camp counselor. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a camp counselor at one of the church camps that I went to when I was little.
That was awesome.
In Arizona as well.
And that trip was in San Bernardino National Forest.
Yeah.
In California.
I don't know how you remember that, but
dude, because that was a big reason why I went on the trip, because like, hey, do you want to be a camp counselor for a middle school? And first I was like, well, like, you'd be great with kids, and it's in San Bernardino National Forest, and I love national parks, I love national forests, I love the great outdoors and hiking. So I was like, heck yeah. And remember, we went on that hike, you, me, and a couple other kids, and got to that incredible view, the overlook. I remember there was only a couple of us that actually like went on the hike, but I mean, it was gorgeous. So
that was awesome. Yeah, we
it was a good time.
Me, you, and Connor Jensen.
Yes, shout out Connor, man. Keep drumming, Connor. You're awesome, man.
I hit him up every once in a while on Snapchat.
Nice. Well, hey, if he's still in Arizona, I need to connect with him, because I'm back in Scottsdale now. I just moved back from Arizona, because that was when we had that camping trip, or when that trip happened for church. That was my first year I moved to Nashville, and I just now moved back. Yeah, so, and I think if Connor's still here, I need to hit him up. I need to hit up all my Arizona peeps.
Yeah, dude, you could definitely make some music with him if he's really drumming.
That's true. Absolutely. I'm sure his rhythm's good now.
Travis Barker type stuff.
Always was. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%.
That guy's insane.
I see you got some guitars in your room behind you. That's what's up.
Those are for sale.
Those are for sale. I just listed one of mine for sale, and an acoustic. Nice.
Definitely.
Well, I figure if you don't ever play them much, you might as well make some money on it and sell it.
Yeah, I've been playing with one of them. One of my buddies is going to be teaching me soon, just because I've been making a lot of music, writing a lot of music lately, just because. Nice. Another creative avenue. Every time I learn a new creative thing, it turns into work, so I got to keep adding new ones, just for like, even though I still really enjoy what I do, just adding a new creative thing that doesn't get me anything always keeps me on my feet, keeps me learning, and that's I always try to evolve, especially since I'm young, just trying to learn new things all the time, and
absolutely
definitely keeps my mind happy.
Good. Well, that's most important.
Yeah,
because if that's not right, if you're mentally not right, it's hard to produce good work and have good relationships.
Yeah.
Starts with that. No, 100%, man. I just went back from a run right before that we started this call too, and I think exercise is really important for like mental health. I think it's not good to sit around the home too long. It's easy to do that. It's very good to get physical exercise. I'm a big proponent of that.
Definitely, absolutely, especially outside. That's we're definitely deprived from a lot of sunshine, and that's definitely what gives us our main source of energy, and that can definitely change how you feel
for sure
inside.
And like you said, hobbies. It's good to have hobbies that you don't stress out, that you are trying to make a career out of. It's good to have things that you love that like could have started as a hobby and now you're trying to make a career. But then it's good to have other things that you just do for fun. For me, that's like skateboarding and like hiking and playing basketball. I'm not trying to make a career doing those things, but I love doing them. Even tennis. I live on right outside a tennis court now, right from my view. Literally, I can see a tennis court right outside this condo that I'm in now. And I figure since I can practically throw a tennis ball from my balcony to the tennis court, I'm going to pick it up. And it's actually pretty fun. It's a sport that I've never played like kind of my entire life, but it was there was a lot of flow involved to it, so I was having fun with it.
Tennis is really fun. Back when I lived in Arizona, we had a tennis court in our backyard.
Nice. That's awesome.
We played every once in a while, but my brother plays football, so we ended up turning it into a football court.
Oh,
like
cool.
a little 3v3 football court. We took the net down.
Dude, that's sick.
We actually did a lot of stuff with it. One time we had the net up and we got into RC cars when I was little, and we got 2 ramps on each side of the
Yes.
thing, and we jump it with those things, and they break all the time. That's why I'm not doing it anymore. But
That's hilarious. What, the RC cars break all the time?
yeah, they're like money pits. You talk to anybody that does it, and you just have to keep putting money into them.
Damn, that
it's like
sucks.
it's like the gasoline. It's
Right.
like cash.
I had these electric dirt bikes growing up, and it was kind of like that. They're always breaking down a bunch, but they were so much fun when they worked, man. God.
Yeah.
Used to
Yeah, it is.
mob to parties on those things, and then cops come, and I'd mob out on an electric dirt bike, trying to
Yeah.
skirt away. Good times.
That's awesome.
Always
yeah.
breaking down, though. I feel you.
Yeah, my family friend started a RC car track, and he owns this track, and people come down there all the time,
Dude.
and now they're doing races and stuff, and
That's sick.
I think that's the way to go. You just try other people's.
Yeah, absolutely. That's badass.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right on the freeway from where I'm at, like an exit away, is an indoor go-karting track and an indoor skydiving thing too. So I'm like, bro, I need to hit both of these up. I did do the indoor go-karting thing a long time ago for my high school graduation. That's where it was at, and they go fast. It's like the pretty legit cars. You know, it's not like
That's
the cheap
awesome.
ones. It's the fast ones. A lot of fun.
Yeah, like F1 and all that. That's like when they start to push it to where if it's like you can drift and stuff. That's really what I like doing when you go on the nice go-karts is you can drift around those corners because you're going so fast, and
For sure.
that's really fun.
Are
I've never really beaten any times or anything, but it's
Right.
always fun.
Yeah, me neither. Are you into cars and automobiles?
I'm into looking at them. I'm not necessarily like I know what cars I like. I know like the specific cars that I like, but I don't necessarily get down into the mechanicals of it.
Yeah, same. I was just curious.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I'd probably get into if I bought something that needed to be worked on. Like I always wanted to get like a 65 Camaro, like just a matte black 65 Camaro.
Nice.
Just that's like my old school dream car.
Cool.
And if obviously on that I'd have to put work into it all the time, so I'd definitely be always down to learn new stuff, and that would be a good reason for it.
Sure. Dude, you know, I think it'd be a sick car, and I'm sure it just would break down easily and require a lot of work. But just those really vintage, early 1900s cars that just look badass. I think those are so sick. Like, I don't know if they're even safe to drive, but
If you could remake them with like a real engine now, like just a real engine, get those wood wheels back, that would be.
yes.
That could make a comeback for sure.
Hey, everything in life seems to be circular. It's just a matter of time, you know. Fashion comes back around. You like this Hoose painting behind me? Isn't that pretty cool?
Dude, that's pretty cool. I like the colors a lot.
Someone, Michael is his name. He was a fan at the show, and we played a show in Huntsville, Alabama. No, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm sorry. And Michael was tripping on acid, painting on the side, and he painted us that. And if you get real up close, there's a lot of like flies, like gnats in it, but it gives the painting texture. And as he was listening to our show, this is what he made. Tribal Hoose. With
That's
the Hoose
really cool.
Moose, and it's super
That's really
badass.
cool.
He is a soul. His name is Michael. He's a beautiful soul, and I feel like that painting right there really describes his soul and the Hoose Moose's soul. And I love the colors. That's very much like my favorite color is not a single color. It's like a collection of colors. And
Like gradients.
I know that doesn't count, but to me it does. You know, and it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I like I think they're called iridescent gradients, and they're like those really vibrant, like light colors mixed together, and they always look really cool.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look that up. Google that.
I've been
Iridescent.
definitely. Yeah, I've been making a lot of cover arts lately. I've been managing these. I'm managing a band, and I just actually picked up another band that I'm managing. My buddy Devin Starr, and he's in like 4 different bands. He's a metal drummer and he's an acoustic singer. So he's kind of on every side of the musical spectrum.
Nice.
And so he does a lot of different just music stuff. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife of a dude, but he just started a 90s band with a lot of cool guys, but I'm actually the manager, even
Nice.
though I wasn't even alive in the 90s.
When were you born? What year?
2003.
2003. Nice. So are they doing 90s covers, or they're like original band trying to sound like they're from the 90s?
It's mostly covers. It's going to
Okay.
start out as it's always going to be mostly covers. Just it's basically a nostalgia based band,
Nice.
focused on getting that sort of audience together, and then
So was he alive during the 90s?
yeah,
Okay,
they're all 20, 30.
Yeah, so they were alive
yeah.
during the 90s, because you said you weren't. Okay, but at least,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that makes more
They're
sense.
they're in the 90s, but we're trying to.
I'm
we're
a
trying to
90s
turn-
baby. 94, first day,
Yeah.
New Year's Day, 1994, first baby in my hospital. Let's go
Yeah.
of that year.
First of the year.
94, baby.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, so they're trying to turn the whole thing into an event and all
Nice.
that, but it's just down the road. I really like working with musicians. Most of my friends are musicians, and
Nice.
obviously you are too. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Good
that's-
people, you know? I like being around
Absolutely.
artists and creative people. For the most part, people really
Absolutely.
pursuing music. It's like, that's cool that they have something that they've found and like doing. Because I know a lot of people, that's what a lot of us are just looking for, something to do, you know, something
Definitely.
to love. And,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. That's what's a great thing about any type of artist or anyone who has a small business or something that they love, or even large business, whatever. But anyone that finds their thing, I think that's what I'm all about. That's what Hoose Moose is all about. That's what I stand for, is to just, like, my name, Mr. B, is my message too. Like, be, Mr. B, just be yourself. It is my initials backwards, Blake Robert Mankin, but it's really like deeper than that. It's just like, you know, Mr. Be yourself. And Hoose Moose is always being himself. He's a constant reminder to be yourself. But that's what I love about musicians. And it sounds like these guys, I mean, they're doing covers, but I'm sure they're like still themselves, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're all generally, when it comes to bands just starting up, they're normally like 3 or 4 different people in 3 or 4 different bands.
For sure.
And they're all just trying to express their creativity and through different brands.
Yep.
It, like, sounds the same as bands, but it's that
they're
every
similar.
band kind of has like has a different voice, and it's cool to see it's cool to see the same musician speak through that different style, different genre, and it really brings out their different techniques and skills, and
For sure.
kind of blends it together until eventually they find something that works. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of the popular bands you see. They came from trying different things and working with different people until that just
true.
clicks.
So true, man. 100%. Keep trying. That's just a lesson for everyone. Just keep doing, keep pushing. Shit gets trying and tough, but just keep pushing.
Absolutely.
It's like,
yeah,
a
when you're
Rubik's Cube. Like, just keep pushing. Like, you'll
Yeah.
solve it. There's a winning combination within what it is that you're doing right now. You just got to
Yeah.
solve it.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one thing that I think people take a lot of the trials and tribulation as you're moving towards something bad, because they're going through struggle and they feel like they're moving towards struggle, but in reality they're moving towards victory and
Wow.
happiness and success. And
Yeah.
that's really what you're going through, is you're pushing towards something and not pushing against yourself.
100%. It's all about
Yeah.
perspective, man. That's such a good perspective to have on the matter.
Definitely.
There's so many different
that's what-
ways of looking at things. I've been a big believer in that as of recently. Just like you cannot just consider one angle. Like, every situation, everything has multiple angles. There's multiple sides to consider. There's multiple perspectives to consider, and just not seeing the world from such a black and white linear point of view, but really turn over every stone. Like, look at all sides and angles of it, of the matter and the situation, and the ability to hang both thoughts in your head at the same time. A lot of times people just have one or the other, and I get it, but you got to just, with certain things, it's very much, one or the other. But with a lot of life, it's not just as simple as one thing or the other. You have to be able to hold both thoughts in your head at once. And that's, I know, something that's been big for lately. It's like, and or both or none. It could be
Absolutely.
one or the other, or both or none. And just considering
Definitely.
all the possibilities. It's not always just one or the other.
Definitely thinking through before you have an emotion or a perspective on something can definitely change your whole mindset and daily mood.
100%, man. I need to get better at thinking before I speak. I get emotional. That's why I'm an artist, baby. You know, I just let it. But I need to. Man, that's so true. So true. I gotta constantly remind myself: breathe, relax your shoulders, be patient. You know, like think it through. And a lot of times, I think if everyone did that, there'd be way less arguments, way less fights. You know, if you really thought through your shit.
So I've noticed a lot of artists that I watch interviews and stuff and study some of my favorite artists, and a lot of times, even just creatives, it's venting your emotions and thoughts and your subconscious into like a piece of art. But what I've noticed with your music specifically and some other artists is it's very positive and inspirational and focused on that sort of thing. And obviously it's some of it's focused on God and that sort of thing. But how does that correlate to you venting what's in your mind, or is that actually a sort of meditation for you?
Well, I'm very thankful that overall my music is pegged as that. Everyone, I think, would agree that Mr. B's music is positive and uplifting, and I'm glad that is my overall brand. Not every song is like that, so for me, my music is very much my source of venting. If you really listen to all the songs, you'll realize not everyone is super positive. It's sometimes me just calling motherfuckers out or just saying how I feel about shit, and it's not always sunshine and roses. But at the same time, my overall message is positive and is an uplifting, like, you can do it, believe in yourself, you know, like a motivational, like, just keep growing, keep going, you'll get there. So for me, it's both. I'm thankful that I can, you know, personally still see music as a place where I can release and vent, but it's not like so much so that becomes my entire brand. You know, my brand is still overall positive. So I'm very thankful that like that exists. I feel like that's a really good balance.
Definitely. Yeah. It really definitely changes, especially just as a listener, what I listen to. And people like to deny this, but what I listen to and the words, even if you're just feeling the mood of the song, it definitely digs into your brain. If you're listening to a lot of negative stuff, it can end up making you more negative throughout the day. And
dude, so true, 100%. And I strive to make like that music that you want to put on to just be in a better mood, to just feel good, like when, you know, because that's a beautiful thing about music. I think at the end of the day, you still just got to, as when you're creating it, just keep it honest, and those songs will come. But still, it's good to have some intention within, like, what is the vibe I want to give to people? What is the emotion I want to give to people? You do got to consider that. And I do want to give people that feeling, man. Overall, I really do strive for that, because music is like a great medicine. You know, that and laughter and like love and just good people around you and purpose are all great medicines. And I was just thinking about that, how like doctors never prescribe those stuff, like the intangible medicines. We're so quick to write like some man-made created drug, and if it doesn't come from that, it might not be there. Like there's so much natural things we can do that literally just can improve sicknesses and life. I really do believe that. You know, we don't need to go too deep into that, but you know,
and that's something that I figured out. I was recently I went to a doctor, like after struggling with depression for a while, and I went through a few like antidepressants and stuff, but doing my own research on the side, just because that's what I like to do. I like to be comfortable with what I'm taking and learn more about what's going on in my brain, like learning more about the problem and all that. And what I found was a lot of the stuff, like you were just saying, like there's all these things that boost serotonin that aren't chemical. They're working out daily, even if it's a small amount. It's getting at least 15 minutes of sunlight. There's plenty of stuff like that. Types of food you can eat, like the way you eat, the amount that you eat. There's so many things that correlate to how we feel every day that we don't necessarily realize. Like that's why if you feel like you're being lazy and you don't have a lot of energy, that's not because you need caffeine. It's because you need to keep a steady diet. You need to eat. You need to sleep these amount of hours, not too much, not too little. There's so many different factors that I feel like we're not educated about that are really important, that I feel like people should, if you're listening to this, definitely look into. Definitely just figure out how you're feeling and then research why you're feeling it, and then find the things that you can do to feel how you want to feel. And
100%, dog. My wrist it's actually the top of my forehead has bothered me for over a year now. Went in and got it x-rayed and nothing was there. But I was like, man, it hurt to work out. And I've come to realize through a couple of massage therapists suggested that it might be fascia buildup in my hand. And that's exactly what it was. But I was able to pretty much self-educate myself through the internet, through the massage therapist that I had, and YouTube on how to release the fascia in my hand with like a butter knife and just different
Wow.
exercise and whatnot. And dude, as of within just a few days of doing it, it was an instant release day one and instantly two. And I realized, wow, like it was as simple as that. And granted, that was a lot of, medication or not medication, self-diagnosis, me just kind of like figuring it out. But of course, when I went to the doctor, still charged me like hundreds of dollars just to x-ray it and like, yep, nothing there, I don't know what it is. And it's just like, man, like that's all you can do for me is just because it's not in the x-ray, you don't know, like why did it take like these side people who and one of the massage therapists, in fact, this is really interesting, he used to work for a pharmaceutical company and studied that in school, like very much like medicine, like creating drugs and whatnot, and then got out of it because he realized it's very much all like money driven, so he didn't like the whole money practice behind it, so moved out of that because he realized like a lot of times we're just selling this drug as a product, not even because it's truly better for the person. And so from those types of reasons, he was very much like a purist, got out of it and started doing massage therapy, working for this guy who was able to, through like natural massage therapy, prevent people from having to get surgeries, all different types of surgeries. And they ended up, the government like shut his clinic down. Apparently this guy told me, like, and this is a masseuse therapist, so we'd have to really like back check this guy. Like this is just me at Massage MD one day, like the masseuse telling me that, but he was the one that suggested that it could be a fascia buildup in my hand. And sure enough, like that is what it was. And he was just talking about how, you can release that through just massages, but there's so many different things that people will get surgery for that through correct like massage therapy can actually be prevented from having to get surgery. But like I said, they shut this dude's clinic down, and it goes back to the whole shit. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not that at all. But just a lot of the times is, you're basically shutting a lot of people's money down in a much more cost-effective way, and people don't like it when you're, like clogging up the money, when you start messing up people's ways of making money, So
there's definitely a big influence, especially down here. I noticed that the pharmaceutical companies are really large companies, even though they're split up. A lot of times they're connected to one bigger company, but they have to split them up for the main reason that we have protections against monopolies. And so they split their assets or whatever, and make webs, which is technically illegal, I'm pretty sure, but there's always workarounds and with money, but
it's still going back to the same few places. Yeah, that's how it
absolutely.
is.
So they always have an influence on education. That's why a lot of doctors, you go in and they only know the things that they're taught. But the people who pay the schools, like it's who's giving them money. It's always just tied to where the money's coming from, and that's where all of our lives are basically controlled, especially in the medical industry and anybody that's deeply tied to the government or college.
My mom had cancer when I was in 5th grade, breast cancer, and a doctor told her, he's like, I have to tell you to get chemotherapy or I could lose my job. And it was something that he didn't even actually think chemotherapy was better for my mom, and she ended up choosing not to do chemo. She took a very much more like natural, organic route where she was hooked up on an IV like 6 days a week. But just that fact alone, where he said that, and he wasn't even really supposed to tell her that, where he's like, if I don't recommend chemotherapy, I could lose my job, lose my license. And just, even though he still felt in his heart that necessarily wasn't the right thing for her, and thank God she didn't do that, but that just kind of the all the politics involved. And we don't need to make the whole podcast about this. I don't want to get on too deep of a somber note with it, but that is some real shit. At the same time, that is my message too. Like, let's keep it real. We don't, talk about good things, but then also talk about the real shit. And the real shit isn't always like the greatest stuff, but I think we should talk about it. It's not like we can't not talk about it. You know, that's not good either.
Definitely. Yeah. Always just keeping it open, not leaving any conversations closed off. And that's the way to be. You don't want to be ignorant to any specific thing. It's a common thing, but
no,
you just, especially if you're open to everything, oftentimes you'll be positive because you're open to the positive things.
100%. And on a positive note, man, I'm young and healthy, 26, just moved back to Arizona. You are young and healthy. You're about to graduate high school, man. Like, that must be super exciting. And man, I gotta say, you are so much more mature for your age than most kids. Like, I substitute taught, I know a lot of kids your age, and you are able to have very like deep intellectual conversations. So I'm excited for your future, man, but even just your next year. But how are you feeling? You're about to graduate. Like, what's kind of going on in your world? I guess what are your thoughts for what's next? Will you be moving out or staying in Florida with your parents?
I'm really excited. It's more like a lot of people my age get kind of scared and overwhelmed with this, but I can kind of see that feeling is not like fear. It's more of just more responsibility getting piled on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that it's there yet. I like to be pretty independent already, but there's more things when there's not that. It's less of a, hey, I can just come home and talk to my mom. Like, but I definitely feels more comfortable, like just as my personality is, I definitely feel more comfortable being independent and living, and I like to support myself. It makes me feel a lot more just like emotionally strong. I feel like when I'm on my own 2 feet, that I can,
for sure,
that's where I'm comfortable. But as far as where I'm going, I have a few different things that I want to do, but it all comes down to two different things. So from before I started high school, I've always had this business that I've been running, and it's been doing really well.
And GlassBullet?
Yeah, nice. GlassBullet. It's on to a point that that I'm able to, I'm comfortable with not going to college if I don't want to and running it on my own. But at the same time, that comes with like a certain weight, but it's not really, to people like me, to people like you, doing it on our own and taking risks like that isn't ever a bad thing. But I recently had this I told you about it the other day, and we had a long conversation. I had Clemson University recently saw my video. The athletic director there, or the assistant athletic director, he's also the media manager, so he basically controls what goes out as far as their videos, their pictures, and all that. And one of my contacts, he's actually the PA announcer of the Tampa Bay Rays. He contacted the athletic director. His name is assistant athletic director. His name is Jonathan Gant, and he said that he just sent him one of my videos, and he said that it was really good, and it was better than any college submission that he's seen.
Nice.
And
yes, hell yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely a confidence booster, but that's just another open opportunity that I have, and now it's just kind of seeing where things pan out, seeing where my gut's at, and
for sure,
just kind of just a decision-making process, and obviously always working hard on each individual thing.
Yep, day by day, man. Just continue to be present.
Yeah.
Day by day. That's awesome, though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. New things pop up every day. I mean, didn't that just come up the other day, a week or two for you?
Yeah, I think that was Monday after school, I think. Yeah, so Monday around 3 p.m. and it's currently
Tuesday. Yeah, so
it happened recently.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Definitely wasn't yesterday. It was a few days ago. But yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah. It's always nice to be able to make your own decisions, and it was definitely a thing that put me in a good mood from that point, just because it feels good to have what you do recognized by people that are higher up.
Absolutely, man. Is your goal to just kind of keep making videos and, I guess, running media for other people, or managing the band? Like you said, you got bands you're managing now.
So I'm
doing a lot. That's what's
up. I got my hands on a lot of different places, but it's if I move to Clemson, a lot of the stuff that I have going on here is stopping. But how I've been running my business, I have other creators get involved and do what I'm doing for just doing what I'm doing, like as a subcontractor. So they go out and make videos, and they're part of the brand, they're part of the team.
Nice.
We're all kind of like, we're all a team. We'll have meetings and talk and learn together, and I teach them stuff and I learn from them. And
nice.
I help I've helped like a few different kids make in California, because I used to live there, and I did the same thing that I might be planning on doing here, where I teach them basically how to make money. They know how to make the art, and I teach them how to make money doing what they do, just to base off of what I've learned.
Well, help me out. I'm still figuring that out, man. Making money off the art. You know, that's a lot of people need help with that, for sure.
Yeah.
Me included. I'm figuring it out right now, but I'd love to learn as much as I possibly can from what you know.
Yeah, music's definitely a different animal as far as how populated it is, and how the thing about business, because a lot of what I do is business to business. So I create for businesses, and what you're doing is business to consumer, and it's very difficult to.
I know.
Because once you add the audience piece in there, that's just a mountain you got to climb. But once you get to the top of that, that's because there's obviously ways to make money making music, like one-offs, like licensing and like selling to like stock libraries and stuff. But none of that is actually like the peak of where I think you want to go. I think you want to be an influence to people, and I can tell just by the way you said earlier that you definitely want to create positivity in people and kind of move people in the right direction as far as listening to your music and having almost like a safe haven of listening, and that's where it sounds like you want to be.
Definitely. And I've realized that's true. That is where I want to be. Just have a good positive influence on people, where I could throw a picnic in the park, you know, for the public, and just have a bunch of people come there, and it's just a good time. I'd love to do stuff like that. But I'm realizing I'm very much shifting my focus to Hoose. We shifted from a band recently into a brand, and I'm very much focused on products. So from like a sales point of view, from like where's my monetization coming, I'm less focused on like it being the streams and the music itself. And music is more of like the loss leader that gets people familiar with the brand. It gets them in the door, it gets them aware of us and who we are. And then we profit on the actual clothing plus the products that we're putting it on, you know, masks, sunglasses, lighters, backpacks, wax pen batteries, phone cases, you name it, t-shirts, jackets, you know, everything. And I'm really shifting my focus to that, figuring out that process. Because for years we were booking a band, now we're, you know, basically doing, and that's also, now we're, you know, shifting to a brand, and that's still a business to consumer project, and we are retailing, but really what my focus is doing kind of what you're saying, business to business. From us is doing wholesale to other retail shops and other businesses, like starting with as simple as smoke shops. I feel like, you know, with Hoose Moose, if you don't know the logo, look it up, but like he's got a smoke in his mouth and gold chain. He's his moose with a earring. He's so loved by like that community, the smoking community. So that's one business to business where we'll sell it to them at wholesale cost, way cheaper. And I really want to push that, because that can be much more higher volume and easier deals than having to just get a million one-off sales. And we still, like I said, we're going to do both, but I'm very much, I've recently within another business got my hands wet with business to business, and I enjoyed it so much more than the business to consumer, because what I could do in 2 deals, it would take me like 12 or 14 doing business to consumer, you know. So I just preferred to do, and just like as things grow, us as entrepreneurs, like as things grow, like I am starting to look from business to business end. And I don't necessarily want to do business to business as much in music, because I'm not trying to like sign other people's talent or like profit off other people's talent. Music for me is still just like a passion of mine. It's kind of like a passion where if I make money with it, I'm so down and I'm trying to make some money with it, but it's not like me pressuring the craft where it's like, yo, I have to make this my living, and if I don't, then I'm screwed. It's like, nah, music is just one source of my many incomes as an entrepreneur. I really see like at my core, I'm an entrepreneur, and just like music is just another source of the income. But really from a money making point of view, I mean, shows are great, but you know, I don't want to always have to be playing shows, but products are something that we can continually sell. And you know, I'd love to get into software eventually, but for right now, like I'm just focusing on what I do know, which is products and, and still gonna be putting out music. Don't get that wrong, but that's still, I look at music more as like the marketing piece to everything else, to the brand.
Yeah. And when it comes down to it, all those things they have their core in the same thing. It's when you make music, you're thinking about, well, obviously other things, but when you put out music, you're thinking about what do people want to listen to. When you put out products, it's what do people want to wear. It's very similar of putting yourself in the perspective of other people's views and.
Right. No, you're completely right. I mean, my dad just walked in, so I was just looking at
no worries.
who came in. But yeah, no, you're completely right about that. I think they do go hand in hand. It's kind of like you offering your opinion on, hey, I think we should make it'd be dope to listen to this kind of music, make this kind of music. It's the same with like, hey, it'd be dope to make some clothing like this and wear this kind of clothing.
Yeah. That's something that I've really been focused on is trying to arrange my perspective in a way that I can figure out how people, when I make my videos, I kind of focus on how people feel when they watch it. I do like really deep sound design, trying to create sort of a feeling, because anybody can make video clips put together, but when you start to make people feel something just by watching it, it's the same way with music.
Yeah.
That's really when you create something that people want to watch again, that people want to share.
Yes, when they can emotionally connect to that. No, 100% intention, man. How I kind of relate to that with when I'm recording and rapping is I tell myself I have to truly be living this emotion that I'm rapping about during this 3 minutes of the song. Like I have to truly be living that emotion. I can't just be rapping these words. I can't just be going through the flow. Like I have to truly like mean this and feel this as I'm saying it, because if I can feel it as I'm recording it, then as they listen to it back, you'll literally be feeling someone who's actually feeling that,
Yeah,
in the moment.
It seems very similar to acting, where
yes.
they encompass themselves in the role, and they do everything that they do. They act the way they act, and they think the same way that they think. Yep. And I feel that's similar to what you're just saying.
100%. Ice Cube, the rapper, man, he's obviously had so much success as a musician and then so much success as a actor as well. He said that. I remember he famously just said that, acting's not all that much different from rapping, and I used to see them as more separated of a thing, but as more time goes on, I do understand that concept a lot more, where they are like similar in the sense of you have to be living that emotion during the performance of it. It's very true.
Just bringing that up, Tupac, Will Smith, a lot of artists are actually actors, and that's probably why they're able to transfer over so easily. Because it's very similar skills.
Yeah, no, I could see that. 100% artist, man, at the end of the day, at its core. And then there's even like a similarity with entrepreneurship and just going for it and sending it. Anyone starting a business, a lot of similarity with that. Same with skateboarding. I love all that stuff. I think they all go hand in hand. Hip hop, skateboarding, entrepreneurship. I think a lot of that goes hand in hand. Yeah.
It's definitely really cool it feels good to be doing more than one thing. That's I think what a lot of people that are entrepreneurs or creatives or really just anybody except for business people that do one thing, or like lawyers and that type of thing, even those type of people always have hobbies and stuff, and I think that's something that definitely makes people in a better mind state, is having different things to focus your energy. When you're tired of this thing, you go back into the other thing. And
for sure. Yeah, everything in balance, as long as you're getting your shit done. Because sometimes I know I'm guilty of not focusing enough. I'm skirting around too many different projects where it's like, hey, I just need to focus in, hone in on one. But you're right, it is still like, I wouldn't want to just have one. That would just drive me crazy. Like I love having more than one thing to go between. I think it's good. You just got to know yourself. A lot of it is just self-awareness, self-knowledge.
That's huge.
That's a big thing. You just got to know what it is that drives you, know what it is that you like. Just know yourself.
It's surprisingly easy to get out of self-awareness, and I've noticed that with myself personally, is it's really easy to just kind of go into a state where you're either thinking about other people or thinking about certain circumstances in your life rather than actually focusing in on yourself, like focusing inward. and learning about yourself, because there's a lot of things that you can learn about yourself that you didn't ever realize, and end up being more successful and more happy just because you know yourself more.
100%. So will you have me back on your podcast more than once?
Oh, absolutely.
Cause I'm looking forward to this because I've really enjoyed this. I just kind of did my first few podcasts recently this summer, but I think it's an awesome format, and I want to do more of it, get more comfortable at it. It reminds me a lot of rapping too. They all kind of go hand in hand, speaking of things that different categories that relate to one another. You know, it is kind of similar, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's definitely feels good to have just a one-on-one conversation with no distractions, and just kind of vent and talk about what we really like, and I think we'll definitely do more in the future.
100%. Yeah. No, we definitely will, and every time it'll get better. I know it will.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have stuff I got to work on as far as a host, and I think we'll grow together and learn new stuff and figure out technology problems, and the quality of the podcast will definitely go up, and I got you to help me out with all the audio stuff that I don't understand.
100%. Yeah, and even then I'm no pro either, but 100%. And I'm excited, man. I think it's good that we're into tech, because I think the convergence of technologies is going to be just continually changing the landscape going forward. So adaptability is the most important quality for us to have, and we're good about doing that. And that's where our mind is at, just continually like adapting to where the times are. I think that's truly survival of the fittest. That's what Darwin meant. It's not like truly as in like the strongest person like in our day and age survives, but it's more like the person who's best at adapting. That's truly like the strongest. Like that's survival of the fittest.
That's so true.
Just because of the time period we're entering,
Yeah, it's definitely a transitional time, and being able to focus on the future and the present at the same time, bigger picture and micro and macro, as Gary Vee says, at the same time is really important.
Right. I love that. He says micro speed, macro patience. I think about that a lot.
I do too.
and be present. I love that you touched on that. That's just, I think we should end kind of saying that to everyone listening, just like be present. I know I'm really saying that big to myself, just a reminder to be present in the moment. It's very easy to get caught up in the future, but to just be present. And I enjoy this present moment, Carter. I'm glad we're filming this and recording this podcast.
Yeah, man. Love talking to you, bro.
You too, my man. Thank you. I'll let you wrap it up, man, but thank you again for having me, and I look forward to the next one. This is a good time.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. That's Blake Mankin, the best on the mic, the best
Mr.
with the
B,
products.
baby.
Tribal Hoose. I'll post all of his links in the description, and thank you so much.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and turn notifications on, because I have episodes that come out every Monday. I'll see you next time on the GlassBullet Podcast.